Ask yourself the damn question. Is winning the only thing to you?
Sports today are not just played on the field. They're played every day, online, all over the world, by sports fans just like you.
Don't you dare breathe. That won't get you anywhere. If you don't think you're a winner, you don't belong here.
The Star Fantasy League Show puts you in control of your own team. Find out who to sit, who to start, how to play, and have your daily fantasy sports questions answered with your host, Jonathan Sprung, and co-host SFL CEO Zach Stanley and Nick Steblenko. The Star Fantasy League Show is on the air now.
Hello and welcome to the Star Fantasy League Show here on the Sports Byline USA Network. I am your host, Jonathan Sprung, joined, as always, by SFL CEO, the Deucey Moose himself, Zach Stanley.
Quite the night last night, gentlemen, but overall disappointing on my end.
Why? Why were you so disappointed? What happened last night?
LeBron's antics disappoint me.
LeBron
and frustrate me and
in
irritate
general?
me. Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm not a big fan of the Miami Heat. I think you're aware of that, or LeBron. But last night was extra special.
I don't think anybody's a fan of LeBron. What about you, Teddy Bear 2, Nick Steblenko? Are you a fan of LeBron?
I've never seen somebody whine as much as I've seen him whine in a single game.
He makes calls before he even goes to the hoop sometimes. He's like, watch this,
watch
this. Yeah, I'm gonna get fouled.
It's unbelievable. I just don't understand why you would want to carry yourself like that as a player. No humility whatsoever. Some of his comments after the game were infuriating.
Yeah, let's watch. Let's put Kevin Durant and LeBron James's MVP or whatever speeches side by side, and watch one of them be, humble, and the other one just be an idiot.
I mean, to some degree, you have to understand that he worked very hard to get to where he is, and I have respect for that. But when you get there, it's how you carry yourself from there on that is how people will judge you. And he literally has no humility whatsoever.
Yeah, and the whole growing pains thing, that's over. So all those years that we were like, hey, look at this young guy that's getting all this money, and he's acting this way, and he's talking about himself over the team, and on and on and on. It's over.
I'm tired of it. But you know what I'm not tired of? Talking daily fantasy sports. We got an action-packed show. Lots of action. Lots of good stuff. NBA, MLB, NHL. Lots of stuff to break down. We got one or two more NBA lineup breakdowns with Nick before we switch over to baseball.
Yep.
Hopefully I can do better at that.
Well, we're working on it together.
Yeah, we'll definitely get to it. We'll see how it goes. It's definitely some growing pains like LeBron, but we're not going to whine about it. We're not going to do it.
Well,
all right.
sometimes we whine.
Yeah, sometimes we whine, but we're not going to make calls beforehand.
I'm not going to wave my arms in the air and flail around.
All right, coming off the break, Nick breaks down his NBA lineup for Tuesday on StarFantasyLeagues.com. You listen to the Star Fantasy League show on the Sports Byline USA Network.
Now, let's get back to it. The Star Fantasy League Show. Feel free to tweet the show at SFL Show.
Let's do this.
Time for your Star Fantasy League's NBA Fantasy Lineup Breakdown.
Guys, we had a big scare the other night. San Antonio, if they had won, would have basically killed one of our daily fantasy basketball days, bringing us down to 1. But luckily, Portland woke up.
No worries, baby.
Yeah, I still have a chance to come back now. It's awesome.
Yeah, but I won the other night.
Yeah, you won last night.
Yeah,
but thanks to that, I still have a chance.
Yeah,
I think there will still be nights where both games are on.
I highly doubt that. The NBA is not going to do that.
Saturday or Sunday.
Oh, maybe. Let's just hope that daily fantasy NBA and NHL just go as long. Yeah, Nick's crossing his fingers. Let's hope. Honestly,
he needs to win 5, right?
He's
currently 4 to tie, 5 to win.
Yeah, 4 to tie.
All right.
Oops.
Yeah.
He's not done yet. And if you'd have been playing him in hockey, you probably would have lost.
Okay.
It's a good possibility.
Do you remember the one time I played hockey? We built a lineup on the Star Fantasy League show, and I got the second most points in the free roll, and I had no clue what I was doing.
Was that your third or fourth lineup?
No, I only made one for NHL. NHL, I don't even know half the players. Think I'm going to make more than one lineup? Come on now. Don't accuse me of cheating when I don't know what I'm doing.
We're gonna get to talk about NHL later, right?
Yeah, of course we're gonna talk about NHL later.
Okay,
Don't
good.
you dare infiltrate the.
Well, I'm just excited because Montreal dominated last night.
It
was a very, very good game.
Dominated.
All right, I'm gonna transition us because we're not gonna talk about domination except if it's me dominating Nick in daily fantasy basketball.
Not gonna happen.
Except most of the time in the playoffs.
You know what? I'm doing okay. You got to give me some props. I'm doing all right.
Got a good feeling tonight.
We both did terrible yesterday.
Got a good feeling about Teddy Bear 2 tonight.
Okay. You can pile on whatever you want. I got to give a spiel before we listen to his lineup, though. If you haven't played daily fantasy basketball on starfantasyleagues.com, you're running out of time. Get on the site. $5 free. Tweet us at SFL Show. Get started. You get a $100,000 salary cap to pick 2 guards, 2 forwards, 2 center, 2 utility. That's any player you want. Stay under that cap. Get the most points. Win the most money. Easy game.
And one coach.
No, you do not pick Mike D'Antoni. We're not talking about him. Actually, we are talking about him later.
Would anybody ever pick him?
No.
Yes, the answer is yes, because the Lakers picked him.
Actually, like
Scott Brooks cost me my game last night.
Yeah.
Well,
kicker.
not
That's
last
like
night,
okay.
but
That's like
other
most of the sites picking kickers. We don't do that on starfantasyleagues.com for football. Come on now.
Well, that's because there's
Kickers is
like
Bush League.
there is no consistency in any matter whatsoever on who's going to get points week to week for kickers.
Yeah,
that's
correct.
true.
Except for Janikowski. Hitting 50-yard bombs.
Oh, that's true.
Okay. All right. Let's get to your lineup, Nick. We got to see how you're doing for Tuesday.
All right, we'll see. I did more of a high-low lineup, so we'll see how it came out.
Okay, good, because I've been advocating for these 2 series. I've been advocating the high-low with the KD and the Chris Paul, and that lineup I built a couple days ago, destroyed.
Yeah.
Here we go.
I'm saying
here we go.
that's I think is the strategy.
More gloating from John.
All right, I'm going to start with George Hill, Mr. Consistency. He's at 10,194. He is my first guard of the evening.
I can't say I don't love the pick because I think he's my favorite Indiana Pacer right now.
Really?
From a fantasy standpoint, he's cheap. He gets consistently 20, 25 points. I can't be angry at him.
Don't you feel like he's going to cough one up one of these games? I really feel like he's just going to dud one of them.
But he's like, he doesn't need to do much in this series. He just kind of facilitates. He's not really asked to score. When he shoots, he gets wide open shots because he's the 4th option on the floor.
He had a couple duds in the Hawks series.
Yeah, but he's actually guarding, a point guard. John Wall doesn't really do much on defense. He's not really
Neither
that
does
adept.
Jeff Teague.
Yeah, I guess that is true. Oh, well. They're both not very good
But
defensive.
yeah, very consistent this series, and obviously a short slate and a decent salary price for him.
Yeah, George Hill's a must. He's been a must for the whole series.
George Hill.
That boy?
No, he's not. He's
No,
not that
he's
boy.
not that boy.
We missed
all
that
right.
boy.
Well, the second guard I'm going to put in is Darren Collison. He had a pretty good game last time out, and I don't know. I feel like the Clippers they need to find their groove again. So I don't know. I think I like him. He's at 8,900. He allowed me to get in
The big
a lot of other
boys.
players.
I was shocked because Collison was so big in that fourth quarter, and that was a symptom of them needing some offense from other guys than
And going
Blake Griffin and Chris Paul.
extremely small.
Yeah, going small, speeding up the pace. But he still only got 22 minutes, which was pretty shocking to me. I just, because he played, the whole fourth. So I was like, he must have had, 28 minutes.
If they go small again, though, he's going to be a huge benefactor.
And
That
there's a
helped
good
him a lot.
chance that it could happen, for sure. I mean, I would have
If it works, you stick
They
with
didn't
it.
have a problem putting Paul on Durant, although that might hamper Chris Paul, so they may not do that as much as they did in Game 4. Or Game 4, yeah, Game 4.
Yeah. Well, I mean, him being in, I was able to get in both Kevin Durant and Paul George.
Ooh, and Paul George.
Yep, I got both of them.
Interesting.
Boy
Yep.
George.
See,
So those are both of my forwards for the night. Well, actually, I have one more, but
I said I liked Paul George, but I still went with I spent all the money in the world and got Chris Paul and Kevin Durant.
Does that mean you're playing somebody like Drew Gooden?
Of course. You mean someone like Drew Gooden. That means I'm playing Drew Gooden. Get out of here. You don't like Drew Gooden?
No.
Why not?
Because his minutes are completely unreliable and he's completely inconsistent.
and I don't
extremely
think
true.
that they're going to escape tonight.
Well, we're only worrying about tonight, Nick. I don't really care about tomorrow.
But if there's no, I just don't think he's
Maybe
gonna
they'll
play a
maybe they'll
He's
get
not gonna
blown out
factor
by
in.
30, and Gooden will get
Well,
mad
that's a
fourth quarter
possibility.
minutes.
That is a very good possibility.
You know what's really funny? When we're going to be talking about Wednesday's game, I actually have written in my rundown, blowout potential, put in the backups, because the entire San Antonio series, we haven't been talking about this blowout potential, and every single game, one way or another, has been a blowout.
Yeah, that's true.
It's insane. It's just like, let's put a couple backup guys in and see what they do.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see Indy blow them away tonight because they want to put this thing away. They want to put all the talk to bed. They want to move on. They want to get ready for Miami. You know it's going to happen. We've been careening towards this. Yep, I said it.
Yes, careening.
We've been careening towards this for the entire season.
Both of these series are going to be 5-game series.
Potentially?
I think so.
Wait, what do you mean both of these series?
I mean,
Miami and Indiana.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about the game that's going on the Clipper. I was like, that can't be 5 unless you end 3-2.
No, the Clippers and the Thunder are going
That's
to be
going
tired
7.
after this series.
It's going 7. All right, let's
They're
move
getting
on.
physical,
We
too.
got to get your 2 centers and your 2 utility going on.
Zach's going to hate this one. I got Perkin. I have Kendrick Perkins.
So do I. I don't hate Perk. For the money, I really don't hate him.
You guys are
going to
get like 6 fantasy points.
Okay.
I think he's going to get in double digits, low double digits, but I think he's going to get probably 12 to 15.
Okay. If you want to make a side, what do we call it?
Side wager?
No,
no,
stop
you
saying
can't.
that
Nick.
word.
All right. Calm
You are
down.
the worst.
Side contest.
Side contest. I love it.
There's no money. I'm just using the word. It's there's no money involved.
Whatever. Okay, we're not talking about it. We'll talk
All
about it
right,
later if you want to
fine.
make a side contest. That
Fine.
makes no
How about a
sense.
head shaving bet?
A sideshow?
Head shaving bet?
No, that sounds awful.
All right. My second center is Roy Hibbert. He's at 10,405, which is
I'm
still an
prohibiting
amazing
you
bet.
from using him in your lineup.
No, you are not.
Can't do
That's
that.
true. I have him too. I
He's
have
an absolute stud right now.
Studley. Studley
17 points and 9 boards on average in the last 3 games.
which
And
is
2 blocks.
which is about 100 million times better than his 0-0 performance in Game 1. Right?
About
Yeah,
100 or about
well-
1,700?
You can't multiply by 0.
Thank you. I was waiting for that. You can't multiply by 0. Doesn't matter what number I said.
Great.
That was
Awesome.
very clever, John.
Math
That's hilarious.
joke. All right, we got 2 utility spots. You got to give them to us. Hopefully, we hate them
Why?
because your lineup's sounding okay tonight, except for
All right, I have Nene.
Zach hating Perk.
I have Nene in. He's just short of 12,000, and I have Lance Stevenson.
Okay, I have a huge problem. You neglected to mention my favorite player of the day.
I said Paul George already,
No.
but you don't have him in your lineup. He was
No.
your play
Talking
of the
about
day.
Bradley Beal.
My favorite player of the day, Bradley Beal.
Why
Okay,
is that?
I don't think
why
he's
is
gonna-
that your
I just
favorite player
love
of the day?
Bradley Beal. He's been so consistent.
I
I've loved
think,
him.
I think he's going to fall flat on his face tonight.
Ooh, literally?
I do. No, I had him in originally, and I just thought, I think the Pacers are going to win this going away, and I think that Bradley Beal and John Wall are going to be so defeated that they're really not going to factor in.
I would advocate taking out Nene and putting in Bradley Beal in that lineup. Nene is just he hasn't looked good at all in this series. He's been kind of hanging out away from the basket because of David West shooting some jumpers.
He's
That's
right.
true. I know you're right, but I just think that things are going to be a little different this time.
Nene and David West are literally beating the crap out of each other in a series, and it's hurting both of their both their fantasy outputs. What I don't know.
Value?
No,
Their
not
fantasy value?
Fantasy output.
Okay.
I'm going to keep saying that word, but it's not right.
Fantasy prospects.
Yeah, there we go. I can't speak English on the Star Fantasy League show. You guys are going to learn that pretty quickly. We've been doing this for months. I'm
Yeah,
not,
why
I'm
would
not
we
literate.
not have learned that already?
I'm not literate at all.
I mean, the other thing is that I have to beat you, and I need to put some different players in the lineup.
You have some different players.
Nene is definitely going to be one of them.
You don't have Drew Gooden.
I don't have Drew Gooden. I think that's
Thank
an interesting
goodness.
pick, at the very least, to say the
Yeah,
very
go ahead.
least.
You know what? Crap on my lineup. Have some fun with it because tomorrow when I'm laughing at your lineup underperforming, we'll
This
laugh.
is true.
It's fun.
And this does happen quite
All right,
frequently.
coming after the break, we have some stuff we have to talk about. I don't know what Zach's doing.
You
making
could seal
noise.
the deal tonight.
I could. Ooh, I'll definitely
If you
seal
beat
the
him
deal.
tonight, it's over.
All right, tomorrow's the celebration party, but coming after the break, it's John Olds Mailbag time. Time to celebrate John Olds Mailbag. You're listening to the Star Fantasy League show on the Sports Byline USA Network.
The Star Fantasy League Show. Information is key to being a successful fantasy team owner, and the guys have all the updated info you need right now. Okay, fantasy sports fans.
There's a letter in your mailbox.
Time to dig into Donald's mailbag for your questions and comments.
Read the mail, read the mail, read the mail.
Jump in the game. Send your questions and comments to the Star Fantasy League's team by tweeting at SFL Show.
Welcome back. It's that time again.
Clap for it. Clap for it.
I don't know why we're clapping. Why are we clapping for John Olds
It's
Mailbag?
mailbag time.
Oh, okay. I don't think mailbag
Teddy
time.
Virtue's not excited.
No, he's not excited for the clapping part.
Yeah, the clapping thing.
Clap
Just-
for it.
It's the
Yeah.
radio. We don't need to clap. You don't need to make noise because that's something you do. You
Sometimes.
like that.
If I
He likes
need
yelling
to.
mailbag at really inopportune times.
Mailbag?
Well, that was an opportune time.
At dinner the other night, he's just like, "What would you like for your entree? Mailbag." It's not appropriate.
It's either mailbag or go Bills.
Oh God!
Most
Okay.
of the time.
You can stick
Both are
with
acceptable, I
you
think.
can
Thanks.
stick with mailbag. That is perfectly fine.
Go Bills.
No, stop it. All right, we got to get right into the mailbag. There's some weird stuff going on. As always, we get the dumb stories. We got to put them in the mailbag.
Why not?
People tweet us. They want to hear about these ridiculous stories. All right, here we go. Jimmy H. writes, I wasn't sure Donald Sterling could come across any worse, but he managed to do so in an interview with Anderson Cooper. What are your thoughts on the whole situation? Did anybody watch this actual interview?
Donald Sterling.
Nah, please do not lump me. I do not have bags under my eyes. That bad.
I watched this whole thing last night.
Did it make your heart cry?
I just thought it was so. I mean, it's almost like nobody is advising this guy.
That's what I was exactly going to say. Who is telling him to do this?
Like, and then Anderson Cooper mentioned after that there was like nobody there with him when he came.
Well,
It was unbelievable.
Yeah,
It was,
okay, but I think he had to do an interview like this.
Why?
You have to try and save face, John.
Okay, but that interview was not attempting to
Okay,
save.
you
Okay,
think, like-
no. What was said in the interview, that is a different story. Whether or not he does the interview, that I think it's a necessity.
but the point is
for
that
him to try
he
to save
clearly
himself.
wasn't coached.
No, I know.
So, I mean, who is allowing this?
Well, he is. He's his own boss.
Yeah,
He's his own boss. He can do whatever he
certainly
wants, and he's certainly just continually digging himself further into
I mean,
a
it
hole.
was delirious, misguided, inappropriate,
I just wish I could ask.
outlandish.
I wish I could ask Anderson Cooper how he kept a straight face through that whole thing. I actually enjoyed watching Anderson Cooper more than I watched Donald Sterling, because how do you even sit there, listen to this delirious old man try to justify what he did, not even really apologize, and just honestly continue to dig himself further into a hole by bashing Magic Johnson even further?
That was the
How do
most
you-
ridiculous part of the whole thing.
How do you
Why
not
go
laugh?
after Magic again?
Imagine if it was Imagine if it was like Dan Patrick. He would have just punished him relentlessly.
Oh my God! Yeah,
He would have just gone after him.
But the best part about it is that it wouldn't be just a straight on attack. It would be one of those kind of like roundabout, I'm laughing at you incessantly ways. You know, like I'm just going to continue laughing at you, but I'm going to make you keep on saying this ridiculous stuff. Just the whole thing to me was hilarious. I don't know anybody that would be on his side after that.
I'm just really proud of Anderson Cooper for breaking up CNN's 748 straight hour just news coverage of a plane that disappeared like 3 weeks
You
ago.
missed a zero. It was 7,048 hours.
Oh,
It
okay.
was
My bad.
ridiculous.
I'm sorry.
It was insane.
You wouldn't think that this situation could possibly get any more. I wouldn't even want to say worse, because I think it's been at its worst. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Insane.
It's, this guy is clearly on another planet and has been that way for quite some time. And I'm sure that there has been owners around the league that have wanted him out for quite some time, but there was no
Glaring thing.
Yeah, there was nothing that they could do to make that motion happen. And see you
happened.
later. This is not,
My
however this ends, it's not going to be good, because
The one thing that was interesting, he actually said that he wasn't planning on going to
but
court.
then he went back on that.
Right. Well, all right.
He was like he was flip flopping the whole interview, and a guy that turned himself into a billionaire got duped, as he said,
duped. Understatement.
into being a racist.
That-
What,
yeah.
what has Magic Johnson done for minorities except for be a young black athlete that rose to the top and defied all the odds? And he's done everything. For
Apparently,
minorities.
his charity last year gave more than 3 times the money that Donald Sterling's charity gave to minorities. Somebody came up with the W-2s of it.
So,
or whatever
yeah,
it
not
was.
so he's never
surprising
done
at all.
anything.
Yeah, never. Terrible. AIDS is bad. Like, why would you do
You're
that?
such a bad person
Yeah,
for
awful.
having intercourse.
My favorite part of this whole thing is Adam Silver immediately came with a statement that's like, "Yeah, we're going to do this even quicker now. Like, we're getting him out as soon as possible." Thank you.
It was. I mean, it's just sick that there are.
People?
I mean, there's people, but are there? Is there anybody in a leadership position to this extent that is like this person?
This disgusting.
You know what we're
going
to see? You know what's going to happen? We're going to find out that he has some inoperable brain tumor that's been causing all of this. Whether or not it's true, whatever. But we're going to find out something even more ridiculous in the next couple of weeks.
Possibly. All right, we got to move on from Donald Sterling's awfulness to somebody else that's kind of awful. Stephen S. writes, Kobe Bryant wants to be part of the hiring process for the next Lakers coach. Is this a recipe for disaster? Mike D'Antoni, go.
No, it is not a recipe for disaster. If Kobe Bryant had his way previously, then Phil Jackson would be coaching the Lakers right now, and they would be in a much different position.
Phil Jackson
than
and
they are.
Kobe hate each other.
No, Kobe loves Phil Jackson.
Yeah, before when he hated him, now he loves him, and now he's
I'm
back.
agreeing with you. Yeah, no, I don't think he hates
doesn't hate
Phil
him.
Jackson at all.
In the
He
book, he wrote
loves
terrible
him.
things about him.
What are you talking about? What, Phil Jackson wrote horrible things?
Yes.
No,
didn't
he
write
just said that he
horrible
wasn't
things.
Michael.
Yeah, he didn't write horrible things. He just compared two superstars on an even plane. Get out of here. What are you talking about?
Kobe would have loved to have had Phil back, and they would have actually been able to do, he would have, what should be going on is he should have helped guide this new owner, Jim Buss, into, and his sister, into the future.
I'm going to disagree. I don't think. I just think that at this point in his career, I don't think it's going to benefit the Lakers to let a superstar like that take control of this. I just don't. I don't know.
I think he's
only got a couple.
I think
years.
he's going to be a coach.
This is the one time I'm going to say this and it's going to mean anything. I completely agree with Nick.
Why do you think Kobe would be a coach?
Because he will probably be a coach.
Kobe's
Why? I mean, Michael Jordan was one of the best players of all time.
And Michael Jordan's an owner, so maybe he'll be an owner.
So maybe he would be an owner.
I
That's
guarantee
fine.
you he'll stay in basketball.
Kobe's an extremely.
Yeah.
Kobe's too polarizing of a person.
Shut
to be
your
a
mouth.
good
Why
coach.
would you not stay in
Shut
basketball?
your mouth.
I don't think he is. I don't think this would be a good plan for the Lakers moving forward because he doesn't have any time left. He is literally at the end of his career. We're looking at 1 or 2 more years of Kobe Bryant possibly. There's no reason to have him be a factor
I think that
in this.
I think that he could guide this franchise better than Jim Buss does. I guarantee you that.
That's probably
Maybe
accurate.
Mike Brown hire him for 4 more days. Maybe they
Wait,
should
hold
do
on.
that.
We got to pour some out in our cups for Mike Brown fired today as well.
Awesome.
Oh, Jesus.
And I read the coaching search, the names that came out. One of them was Mike D'Antoni. How is he still getting head coaching jobs?
That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't.
He's gonna screw.
It doesn't.
He's gonna
I was
screw Kyrie Irving.
Like, basically at this point, with what has gone on, it would be like Mike Brown getting hired. That's what Mike D'Antoni getting hired.
They should just.
is.
Oh my god! If they swapped jobs and Brown went back to the Lakers,
You've been
it'd be
fired
amazing.
by everybody
Yeah, pretty much.
because you failed in multiple cities.
Sad.
All right,
Just
we're not
sad.
going to keep. We're not going to continue failing in Jonathan Mailbag. We're going to move to something.
But
exciting.
nice job to Dan Gilbert for rehiring him again because that made a lot of
Yeah,
sense.
5 years, $20 million. Don't forget about that. He fired him 1 year into a 5-year, $20 million deal. What a moron!
Great.
All right, Mike, you see writes there's a very real possibility of seeing 4 Game 7s in the second round of the NHL playoffs. Would Nick's head explode if this happened?
Oh my God! Yes, it would. This would be awesome. Are you kidding me?
God.
No, this would be awesome. It really would.
How did it work out that we have a Game 7 and a Game 6 tonight?
Yeah, I don't.
Because I remember
this
we talked about
spacing
this.
is horrible.
Yeah, because
talked
they
about-
cluttered.
The Rangers literally got dealt the worst hand I think I've ever seen in the playoffs. They had 2 back-to-back games in different series. They had the back-to-back in the Philly series, and then they had it in this series as well.
But you know what, Nick?
So they just got
Sometimes
caught.
the worst hand is the best hand because they are persevering right now.
Well, yeah, they certainly are. I mean,
Yeah,
they
they're-
play, like I said, they play that style of hockey that really is. It works in the playoffs. So.
Rising to the challenge, getting it done. I do hope these all go 7 because, well, actually, no. I hope Anaheim closes it out, but I also don't see that happening.
Yeah, I know. That's gonna.
I think that's going to go 7.
I
Hey,
see it.
they've
The-
won
both-
in L.A.
Yeah,
They've done
both
it.
of these series, LA we've seen come back from 3-0. So we're assuming they're never out of it as long as, Quick's healthy and not terrible? Like, what's he doing?
Although what happened last night, I don't understand why Sutter pulled Quick after 2 goals in Game 4, and then last night he's getting lit up in the second period, and they don't pull him then. He looked terrible last night, and he was just getting shelled.
Shaken confidence, and then he didn't want to shake it
and
anymore?
why would you leave him in there? No, that's the point. What I was trying to say the other day was you pull a goalie in that situation so that his confidence isn't shaken, because if he gets even further down the rabbit hole, that's going to be worse in the future. You try and take him out, it's a stopgap measure.
The big fault was that Game 5.
What?
Or the Game 4, rather.
Yeah, Game 4.
The big fault was the Game 4. The Game 5, I mean, I think he should be in. I mean,
well, he should. I'm saying, why do it in Game 4 and not in
Right.
Game 5? Then that makes there's
right,
no
the rationale
logic.
makes no sense in comparison of the 2 games.
It just doesn't add up. There's no reason to continue leaving him in if you've
And
already done it once.
Take him out after the first period in L.A. and then leave him in the second period in Anaheim.
Yeah, I think there's more questions now than there were before because of what he did in Game 4. Now you're just like, well, what's going on in L.A.? What are they going to do? Do they have their act together? Is everything working? It doesn't know. I don't know.
We got one more Game 6 before we have this all 7-game series. Chicago, Minnesota. You think
Yep.
your boy Corey Crawford is the only one that finishes off?
No,
2
I
more
know.
Game 6s.
No, I
Yeah.
know. I'm saying we talked about Anaheim, LA. I'm saying there's one
2 more. I said.
No, I wouldn't be surprised if Minnesota wins again. They're fantastic at home, and they've been playing really well defensively. So Chicago only had 2 goals in that Game 5 win. So we'll see. I think Minnesota could push it to a Game 7 too.
I sure hope so.
Yeah, I know
You know how
would
I
like to see
feel
that.
about almost every team that is left.
Yeah, that's true.
You don't like anybody?
No, I don't like the Bruins. I don't like the Kings.
I'm rooting for our hometown
and I don't like the
boy.
Blackhawks.
I'm rooting for our hometown boy, Gio.
Yeah.
Gianta.
And how about Thomas Vanek?
Yeah.
2 goals last night.
Very nice.
You're just saying words right now, and I'm just nodding. I have no idea which
Ryan
hometown.
Gianta's from Rochester.
Oh.
Kerfuffles, Migalagalan, I don't know, all sorts of stuff.
He's just making words up now. This is garbage. All right, coming
Brizgalov.
up after the break, we're giving you value plays for the day on Wednesday on StarFantasyLeagues.com, and we're not making up more words. You guys need to cut that out.
We're gonna put together some facts.
I'm sure you are. And you're listening to the Star Fantasy League show on the Sports Byline USA Network.
Play fantasy sports for cash prizes. Join the top daily and weekly fantasy leagues in the country at StarFantasyLeagues.com. Now, back to the Star Fantasy League show with Donald, Teddy Bear 2, and the Deucey Moose. Only on the team.
We're back, and it's time for value plays of the day and breakdowns for NBA, NHL,
I
MLB.
also have top plays because, as you know, my pitcher is usually one of the highest priced players on the site.
Yeah, that's kind of like NBA. We do that. All right, we got to get to NHL and NBA first because obviously those are going away very soon. We're transitioning to baseball, so let's just get it out of the way.
Very
Nick,
true.
head on to NHL for Wednesday.
All right, well, we have 2 games. We have a Game 7. After the Game 7 tonight, there's another one lined up for tomorrow, and it's Montreal-Boston. And I've said it before, anything can happen in a Game 7. There's really very little you can do to predict what's going to happen other than I can guarantee you we will see a very tight game. Both teams are going to come out. They're going to be a little bit apprehensive to start. Once you get a few hits in there, once you get a few good shots, then all of a sudden we're going to see something blow up.
Overtime.
Yeah, well, oh my God. Then my head would really explode.
Game 7 OT.
Yeah,
nothing like
there's
it.
absolutely nothing like it. But those are actually very rare. I have Ryan Gianta. I am picking my Rochester native to be the play of the night. He is 8,300 on StarFantasyLeagues.com, and I will be rooting heavily for him. So hopefully they pull it out. I think they should. They've really controlled this series. I know they haven't won it already, but they really have controlled the flow of play in the series. So as far as the other game, that's where my goalie is going to come from, but I don't even know who it's going to be. Right now I have John Gibson in, but it could very well be Hiller. It could very well be Anderson. But whoever it is.
No, but Gibson's been looking nice.
He has, but you know what? Two of those goals last night were a little bit shaky where I feel like he could have had some better positioning on them, particularly the third goal where they actually came back and they almost had a chance to tie it up here. So it depends. We'll see.
Would you rather have Gibson tomorrow or Marc-Andre Fleury tonight?
That's
Gibson.
a really crazy, awful question because, Fleury shouldn't be involved in anything.
The only problem is Fleury has a ring. He has a Stanley Cup ring. So
how did that happen?
I don't know.
Sidney Crosby scored 470 goals in the playoffs.
That was the beginning of the end of his playoff legacy.
Either way, whoever's in net for Anaheim has a great chance because I really love the way the Ducks came back. They've really been playing well the past 3 games. So they're playing well in front of them, and I think they're going to get it done.
Perfect. All right, we got to get to some lovely NBA that's going on. We got 2 series that confuse the living crap out of me pretty much. What do we got to say, Zach? Honestly, NBA, it's the same thing every other night.
It really is. These series have just locked up together.
You know what? The only thing I want to ask you is Will Barton, yes or no?
No.
Okay, good. I'm just checking because I put him in just for giggles. He's like 3,300.
You didn't want to say that first part of that, did you?
He's in giggles. Yeah, I didn't get bleeped. It happened.
Kicks? You can say kicks.
That kicks and giggles?
Kicks and giggles.
That's so stupid.
Why not?
Shut your mouth. No. See, it doesn't work if you're not yelling at me.
Yeah,
I actually don't mind putting in somebody like Barton. He got 30 minutes the other day. 30. That's hilarious.
I think what we're going to see tomorrow night, Wednesday night, is closing time for both of these series.
That's exactly what
I don't see anything happening here, which makes it even more difficult to predict who's going to do well.
That's why I think I'm okay with putting in somebody like Barton, only because you know LeBron's going to put up a monster performance. I have him as my play of the day, obviously. 20,447 StarFantasyLeagues.com. Just put up a 58 spot. I feel like that's about what he can put up.
You think he's good for back-to-back monsters?
One was a monster scoring night. I feel like he could do the same thing and just destroy. Like 30 points, 12 rebounds, like 5 assists, something like that. He's going to need to put up a big game, and he's just going to want to close
Either way,
it out.
he'll definitely complain about it.
Yeah. I mean, Brooklyn's best chance to get back in the series was last night.
If you got fantasy
Monday
points
night.
for complaints or whining, LeBron James would lead the league in that category every single game.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe they should do what they should do all of this coming game is just isolate Joe Johnson on LeBron.
Oh yeah,
that
that's,
sounds like a fantastic
That's the play.
idea.
That's the play that they should draw up for the last 2 chances that they have.
That was excellent. Way to go, Jason.
That's my
Kidd.
play of the day. All right, an undervalued guy right now has been Nick Batum, 14,202. He's had 3 straight games over 30 points. He's been the most consistent Blazer in this series, not Lillard. Aldridge has been kind of terrible. Under the radar being terrible.
No, yeah, but I mean, really only in the past couple of games. The first game, he was fantastic.
I'm saying for his value. No,
He's
that was
hanging
all
out in the high 20s.
That was all in. Yeah, he was hanging out in the high 20s. But in game 1, remember we kept saying where these points come from? They were in a blowout. They were at the end. He kind of just got some quick points against backups. He should not have gotten those numbers. But still, it's fantasy. Those numbers do count.
It's Tim Duncan. And we kind of said that Aldridge would be too quick for Tim Duncan, and that's just not been the case.
Wrong. You just say who are you giving your play of the day to?
I think my play of the day for tomorrow is probably going to be Tony Parker.
I knew that was coming. You should have just spit it out. I knew it was going to be him.
How'd you know?
Because
just
it's
knows.
Tony. It's Tony, and it's a closeout.
It's your boy Tony. No,
Tony knows how to close it out.
All right, we got to move on. Those 2 sports are pretty much done. We got to get to our bread.
He does it for Pop.
We got to get to our bread and butter, Major League Baseball. It's crazy. There's so much going on, so many stats to look at. That's why we need King Stanislaus here to give us stanology.
Guys, it's easy to get overwhelmed when it comes time to playing these types of contests.
Look at my sheets. I got ERA, WHIP, WOBA. I got just ridiculous numbers and stats here going on. Help me, please.
Okay. Today we are going to talk a little bit about stacking.
Stacking. Is that like when you put sandwiches and put like lots of meat on top of each other?
I'm listening.
Yeah. Nick is excited.
Stacking is when you choose a bunch of batters in the same lineup on the same team.
Up to 4 on StarFantasyLeagues.com.
Up to
That's
4.
the maximum.
So a lot of times you get in the type of situation of only being able to choose 4. So you end up choosing 2 different stacks, which is a great way to go. I think it works out very well, especially in head-to-heads and 50-50s. You can get really consistent, have one stack cover up for the other stack, and then if you're strategic enough and know what you're doing, you're going to be able to get some solid pitchers in there. So
it's important that you said that, though, the head-to-heads and 50-50s, because if you're playing in a GPP, you really have to mix it up. You have to hit every player perfectly if you're going to get that number 1 spot.
Right.
So that's, yeah.
Right. So one of the things that I like to do is look at the Vegas lines right out of the gate.
Correct.
The Vegas lines, you got to trust them. Over the years, this has changed from what they believed people were going to bet on, so they made the line in that fashion. But it's no longer that way. They're actually doing it to predict what is going to happen in the game. And, these are the most accurate projectors in the world. So
Yeah, that's their job. They get paid to do this.
So when you don't, you typically want to shy away from anything in the 7 to 8 range. If you can get an 8.5, 9-point game line with a favorable pitching matchup, those are things that you want to look at. And then after that, analyze the lefty and righty matchups and analyze factors like weather and the umpires, different stuff. There are stats on umpires on the internet that you can look at, whether they have smaller strike zones, wider strike zones, all that stuff. So
there's a lot. That actually plays into what I wanted to go talk about first with stacking and all that good stuff. There's one of the largest run lines I've seen so far at this Cleveland-Toronto game on Wednesday. It's 9.5.
Ooh, it bounced up from 9.
It's 9.5. That's a monster. I mean, we talk about it. The normal line is around 7 or 8, somewhere around there, 7.5.
I would say 8 is probably average.
Yeah, that's about right. So 7 is at least one of the pitchers is probably solid, is what they're saying.
Who's favored in that matchup?
Toronto is slightly favored. They're minus 122.
Okay.
But, I mean, both pitchers are pretty atrocious in this game. Nobody's really stood out for any reason whatsoever. And these 2 teams, their team WOBA against righties, 2nd and 7th in the league.
You think Corey Kluber's been atrocious?
He hasn't been good.
He actually has been pretty good.
Nah,
Got a lot of Ks.
Yeah, okay. Numbers, fantasy-wise, yes, he's been good. But baseball-wise, not really that great.
I mean, that might be more due to the fact that Cleveland, their lineup, hasn't been able to support him.
Ks can hurt you on Star Fantasy Leagues.
Yeah.
So some sites have where you don't get any negative points for striking out. We like to mix it up a little bit and have it count against you when you get K'd up.
This is
I
very true.
think that's the way it should be. I think that should be something that you're factoring in.
All right, so we talked about this game being 9.5 over/under, which means people are going to get hits, they're going to get runs, they're going to get home runs. There's a couple guys I've noticed for Cleveland that have been absolutely dominating against righties so far. Yan Gomes has 5 home runs and only 77 plate appearances against righties this season. Brantley has 4 home runs, and that's a lot of home runs right there between two guys.
Brantley's kind of starting to beast a little bit right now.
Yep, and a lot of these Cleveland guys aren't really all that expensive too, which certainly helps you if you want to stack elsewhere or put in some bigger names in the pitching spots. Mm-hmm. Anybody else got anybody from this game? Because like I said, you kind of have to approach this game when there's 9.5 over.
I love Brantley.
I don't.
I think Brantley's going to be the play of the day.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh wow, you're going out on a limb here.
No, I mean he's a little bit of a higher price tag at $9,300, but I just really like the way. I like his numbers. I think he's got a really nice matchup. Rogers Center is a great place to play if you're a hitter. I think he's going to get it done.
Yeah, especially home cooking for guys like Bautista, Melky, Encarnacion. 15 combined home runs off righties for those 3 guys.
I also would give Carlos Santana a good look, especially when you're looking to fill that catcher spot.
Yep.
Yeah, basically you're looking for the 1 through 5 spots for stacking.
I would say more like 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah.
The guys that are most likely to have ducks on the pond when they get up to bat.
But the other thing though is that
power.
Yeah,
the power hitters.
A strong leadoff runner gets you runs, and runs can score big points on our site.
Of course, but I just think home runs above all else.
That's true.
Not to mention walks.
Yep.
We talked about 9.5, big number. Texas Houston 9 over. That's a pretty big number as well. Anybody like anybody from that game? I'm assuming nobody's looking at some pitchers, are you?
Why not? Why not?
Go
Scott
ahead.
Feldman?
Go for your boy.
Why not
Scott
Feldman?
You keep
okay,
saying
I know.
my
Listen,
boy.
the law of averages says that he probably should be coming down, but you know what? He's a ground ball pitcher. He doesn't throw a ton of home runs. Although the last game when he did get scored on, they were 2 solo shots, and a lot of times when you have a strong ace, they're going to give up a one home run. It's going to be that's their only earned run, and the rest of the game they know how to manage. For whatever reason, he's actually pitching really well lately, and he's really actually pretty cheap at $10,000.
Yeah. And Texas hasn't been all that great against righties. They're 23rd in WOBA against
That's
righties.
the only thing is that Houston's offense is atrocious.
Yeah.
So there's no way he can get run support.
I mean,
getting a win is going to be tough.
Yeah, it certainly helps that they're at home and they're pitching Nick Tepesh or whatever.
Yeah, he's filling in for Martin Perez. So
yeah, so that actually would help Feldman. Obviously, if you're looking for a value pitcher, he's not the worst.
That's true.
Who do you like for batters in that game? Quickly.
In that game, I don't like any batters.
Yeah, I don't have anybody in that game.
Despite the fact that there's such a huge over-under, you don't like anybody individually?
You can't really pick. I mean, you could pick out maybe like Beltre or somebody from. But
Feldman could have a good game, and the Houston batters. Ugh.
Yeah, Houston, I would probably stay away from.
Yeah, I mean, and the only thing you're betting on is the minor league guy coming up and pitching a terrible game.
Yep. All right. Who do you like for pitchers? Considering we just said we hated Tepesh.
Johnny Cueto, who has the highest salary on the entire site.
Yeah, surprise. He also has the most second most strikeouts.
22,835, second in strikeouts in Major League Baseball. 3-2, leading the MLB with a 1.43 ERA and a .73 WHIP. He's just dominating this year. And the key thing here, this is a guy that can pitch strikeouts, but it's also a guy that can go really deep into games, which is so valuable.
Well, nice little stat here.
Averaging 8.5 strikeouts a start.
You keep saying WOBA, and I keep looking into it. San Diego 30th against righties in WOBA.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful stat to look at.
Yeah, definitely.
God, I love that.
Who do you like for a pitcher?
I like Waka. Michael Waka has a nice matchup against the Cubs. The Cubs they're nothing special against the offensively. He's only $14,000, and he's actually coming up to be a very nice quality start pitcher for St. Louis. I mean, I think it's just a juicy matchup.
Yeah, tasty lines in both of those games with only 7 over/under.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Masahiro Tanaka. 58 strikeouts so far this season, 2.57 ERA, and the Mets not so good against righties, 27.
And he still hasn't lost in his entire career, including Japan.
5-0, and it's in New York. It's in Citi Field, which is a pretty good pitcher's park, which is good. That certainly helps. You got to look at these weird little things. And coming up after the break, we're going to recap all of our value plays of the day across StarFantasyLeagues.com. Then we're going to give you our batters of the day, which we kind of glossed over.
We just didn't get to it.
You know what? We got a lot to talk about. And you're listening to the Star Fantasy League Show on the Sports Byline USA Network.
You're listening to the Star Fantasy League Show. Contact the StarFantasyLeagues.com guys via Twitter at SFL Show.
That's right. Tweet at us on the Twitters at SFL Show.
Do it.
Do it. Just tweet
respond.
us. Tweet us. Ask us questions. If you don't like our daily value plays or our top plays or our pitchers or our stacks or Stanology, tell us.
Donald, I think they want to hear from you.
I think they do.
You have to talk to them.
I'm at Guitar Salad on Twitter. That's actually
a
not
lie.
That's not true at all. I'm at Bunny.
What is Guitar Salad?
That's one of the guys on my podcast. When he's not on the show, we yell his Twitter name.
So you just gave out somebody else's Twitter handle.
Correct. He doesn't actually use Twitter. That's the funny part.
Oh.
Yeah, that's why we do it.
Okay.
It's the whole point. All right, we got to recap all these value plays. For NBA on Wednesday, we like LeBron James and Tony Parker. What'd you say? Not that boy. You said something.
Tony Parker, Spider-Man.
You did not say that before. Whatever. NHL. Nick likes Brian Gianza, your hometown guy. Yeah.
Love Rochester, John. You're here for good.
And whoever starts in goal for Anaheim, I think I've said this on the show 8 different times. We don't know.
Yep, we don't.
Just pick whoever they start. That's
Pretty
fine.
much.
All right, in baseball, we're going to give each of our batter and pitcher. Look at that. All right.
I've got Carlos Gomez, who's at 8,895. He is killing it this season. 9 home runs and 6 stolen bases. Got to love his speed and power ability. Going up against Francisco Liriano, who is 0-3 with a 4.64 ERA and 16 runs in his last 23 innings pitched. Miller Park, excellent hitter's park.
All right, what about your pitcher?
My pitcher's Johnny Cueto.
I know. I just wanted to make sure you recap. That's why we're recapping. All right, Nick, on to you.
All right, I'm going to go with Michael Brantley from Cleveland. He's 9,379. I really like his matchup against McGowan tomorrow. And my pitcher is going to be Michael Wacha. I love his matchup against the Cubs.
All right, and for pitcher, I'm going with Masahiro Tanaka. Got to love him at Citi Field. And I'm going with Johnny Peralta, 68-32. Going against the Chicago Cubs.
How about all the people that had Lions last night against the Cubs?
You know what the funny thing is? On Star Fantasy Leagues, it was a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of people. He was cheap. We thought he was going to do okay.
He was cheap. Good,
17
good
runs
matchup.
for the Cubs. That just proves
he got buried for 9 earned runs.
Yeah, anything can happen in daily fantasy, especially on starfantasies.com. Get $5 free. Tweet us at SFL Show with your username. Thousands of dollars in guaranteed prize pools. We got free rolls every single day. Get in the game.
Participate.
Yeah, motivate, participate.
Why
validate.
would you watch a baseball game without having a fantasy lineup?
That may be the most pertinent thing we've said all day. And if you just like making up names like Nick, we can't help you. Take it easy, guys.